the skill of taking responsibility and owning up to mistakes, the key to respect, maturity, and success. In a world where people often find it easy to blame circumstances, others, or even fate itself, those who are willing to admit their mistakes and take full responsibility are rare. But they are also the ones who possess inner strength, trustworthiness, and the potential to rise far above the rest. No one is perfect. We all make mistakes. But the biggest difference between someone who is truly mature and someone who is merely growing older lies in how they face their own faults. The culture of avoiding responsibility has taken root in many individuals and organizations. When things go well, everyone wants to take credit. But when problems arise, silence, evasion, and finger-pointing become automatic reactions. This is precisely what causes trust to collapse, relationships to fracture, and careers to stall. So, what exactly does the ability to take responsibility and own up to mistakes bring us? And why is it not merely a matter of ethics, but a vital life skill, one that must be cultivated and cherished like gold? Owning your mistakes, a mark of self-respect and true maturity. Have you ever wondered why some people, though intelligent and talented, never seem to gain long-term trust? The answer lies not in always being right, but in how one behaves when they are wrong. A person with genuine self-respect never lets pride override integrity. And in the moment they dare to say the words, "I'm sorry," their character truly shines. Admitting your mistakes doesn't make you lesser. In fact, it proves you possess inner strength, the courage to acknowledge your shortcomings and take full responsibility for your actions. While many hide behind excuses, silence, or pride to protect their image, those who own up are the truly brave, because they don't need to put on a mask to preserve their dignity. They are strong enough to face the truth, mature enough to make it right, and self-respecting enough to prevent others from being hurt by their faults. Those with high self-respect understand that honor doesn't come from never making mistakes. It comes from never refusing responsibility. If you're a parent and have the courage to apologize to your child for losing your temper, you are teaching them a powerful lesson in ethics. If you're a leader who admits your oversight to your team, you are planting the seeds of lasting trust. If you're a friend who apologizes for a careless remark, you're saving a bond that could otherwise fall apart. Sadly, many people let fear of embarrassment erode their character. They would rather blame the situation, others, or even bad luck, just to avoid admitting fault. But what they often forget is this. Others may forgive your mistakes, but it's far harder to forgive dishonesty and avoidance. And once trust is broken, no amount of effort may fully restore what's been lost. So if you want to be respected, stop trying to be perfect. Be sincere. When you're wrong, admit it. When you've hurt someone, make it right. Don't let a narrow sense of pride destroy the noble self-respect within you. And if you too believe that a timely apology is worth more than 1,000 excuses later, then don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so we can continue spreading the values of real character and growth together. Taking responsibility, a journey of healing, not punishment. When people hear the phrase taking responsibility, they often associate it with pressure, guilt, or fear. To many, it feels like an accusation, a sentence, being blamed, criticized, or forced to bear the burden of consequences. But in truth, taking responsibility is not a punishment. It is a journey of healing. Healing for ourselves, for those we've affected, and for the relationships that may have been wounded by our mistakes or carelessness. Because at our core, we are all imperfect beings. Every one of us has made mistakes. Some intentional, many not. Some errors are like minor scratches. Others leave deep emotional wounds. But what truly matters is not whether we've made mistakes, it's how we choose to respond once we realize them. Some choose silence, pretending nothing happened. Others justify their actions, blame the situation or people around them, hoping to preserve their image. But then there are those who quietly turn inward, face the truth head-on, accept the consequences, and begin to make things right, step by step. These people, without fanfare or drama, often earn the deepest forgiveness, the strongest respect, and the most enduring relationships. Taking responsibility is a profoundly human admission. I, too, can be wrong. In everyday life, all of us have at some point said something that unintentionally hurt another. A careless word, a moment of anger, a decision made too quickly, and slowly, emotional distance begins to form. Silence thickens misunderstanding until one day it feels like nothing can go back to how it was. All because we lack the courage to say sorry in time. All because we told ourselves it wasn't that big of a deal. But for the person hurt, a sincere acknowledgement might have meant the world. Often, they don't need perfection. They just need to feel seen, heard, and valued. Taking responsibility isn't about bowing your head. It's about standing tall with integrity. When we own up to our faults, we send a quiet but powerful message. I am mature enough not to run away. When we take steps to make amends, we affirm, I respect this relationship, and I respect myself. These small actions, often overlooked, have the power to save friendships, rebuild trust, and even alter the course of someone's life. In families, children often grow up scared or emotionally distant because their parents never once apologized for their harsh words, unfair punishments, or emotional neglect. These children learn to endure in silence, carrying wounds into adulthood. But if just once, a parent looked into their child's eyes and said, I'm sorry for not understanding you, that single moment could begin the healing process. For children, apologies from parents don't lessen respect. They deepen love, nurture trust, and offer validation. In romantic relationships, countless breakups stem from the accumulation of small, unspoken hurts. A misunderstanding left unresolved, a hurtful comment never addressed. Both partners, wrapped in pride, waiting for the other to apologize first, slowly drift apart. Many beautiful relationships have ended not because the love was gone, but because no one was willing to take that first step to say, I was wrong. Taking responsibility is the first step toward healing. Imagine a world where everyone who made a mistake simply said, I'm sorry, without excuses. A world where people listened when someone said they were hurt and took action to make it right, even in small ways. That world would be gentler. There would be fewer misunderstandings, less emotional distance, fewer locked-up hearts yearning to be understood. You might think, but if I admit I'm wrong, won't people judge me? Perhaps. But the truth is, people may criticize you in the moment, yet they will respect you for a lifetime if you show accountability. A sincere apology can melt anger. A small act of repair can restore massive trust. A person who knows how to self-reflect and step up is someone others feel safe with. Taking responsibility doesn't make you weaker, it makes you stronger. Because it means you can face your flaws without fear. It means you're learning from each fall. It means you understand that mistakes are part of the journey, so long as we don't use them to hurt others again. This skill doesn't come from books, it comes from lived experience. From admitting an error in a report rather than hiding it. From sending a follow-up message after realizing your words upset someone. From choosing not to blame others when things fall short, but instead asking, what can I do to fix this? From those small, honest moments, we grow. Taking responsibility is not just a skill, it's a way of life. A life that says, I value what I have. I don't live to avoid mistakes. I live to face them, to learn, to make things better. A life that stands out in a world where many still fear being wrong, fear being blamed, fear being vulnerable. And if you're wondering, does my owning up really change anything? The answer is yes, it can change you. It can heal someone else. And sometimes it may be the only thing that saves a relationship from falling apart. Admitting mistakes doesn't make you smaller, it makes you greater in the eyes of others. On the journey of life, every one of us has made mistakes, some obvious, others subtle enough that we don't even realize them at the time. But what truly matters is not how many mistakes you've made, but what you choose to do after you realize them. Unfortunately, modern society often places too much emphasis on being perfect. This pressures people into fearing failure, fearing blame, and fearing the loss of admiration. Many end up hiding behind a shell of, I'm never wrong, I did nothing wrong, forgetting one simple truth. It is honesty and accountability that elevate a person, not perfection. Those who are brave enough to admit their mistakes are the ones who value their dignity more than their ego. They understand that when something goes wrong, covering it up or blaming others only complicates things further. In contrast, a sincere and timely apology, humble and honest, can soothe pain, close the emotional distance, and restore trust. Some apologies don't just save relationships, they preserve the humanity and character of the person offering them. Imagine a friend who said something hurtful in a moment of carelessness, but the next day, they text you. "I'm really sorry for what I said yesterday. It wasn't right." That simple gesture could instantly lift the weight off your heart, because in that moment, they show that they value your feelings and are willing to make things right. Friendships grow stronger not because there are no conflicts, but because both sides are willing to grow through them. In the workplace, mistakes are inevitable. You might overlook a detail in a report, mishandle a task, or forget an important step. But when you step forward and say, "This was my mistake, I take full responsibility and I'll fix it," you don't lose credibility. You gain trust. Because maturity doesn't come from never messing up. It comes from how you handle your mistakes when they happen. There's almost nothing more respectable than watching someone face their own error with calm, clarity, and accountability. And here's what's important to understand. Admitting fault does not diminish your worth. It increases your inner value because you've managed to rise above one of the most human fears, the fear of being judged, misunderstood, or seen as weak. You've preserved your integrity by choosing truth over image. Many think that admitting mistakes is a sign of weakness, but in reality, it's a reflection of inner strength. Only those who are insecure need to hide. Only those who are strong can calmly say, "Yes, I was wrong." Only those who are mature know that being imperfect is part of being human, and growing through mistakes is how we evolve. Admitting fault is not an end, it's the beginning of change. A heartfelt apology opens the door for dialogue. It clears misunderstandings and invites both sides to reflect and connect again. Many relationships that seemed beyond repair have been saved by someone saying, "I'm sorry, I was wrong." Family bonds are restored, love is rekindled, friendships are rebuilt, stronger than ever before. At the deepest level, all people long to be understood, acknowledged, and respected. And often, a sincere apology is not merely a ritual. It is a message that says, "I see your pain, and I want to take responsibility for causing it." That act of empathy touches hearts in ways no explanation ever could. And believe this, when you admit your mistake, people don't see you as a failure. They see you as someone with courage. Life is not a stage where we must all perform as flawless actors. Life is a space where we are allowed to stumble, learn, grow, and love with all our imperfections. And admitting our wrongs is a vital part of that process. Remember, a timely apology doesn't make you smaller, it makes you greater in someone's heart. A simple act of making amends doesn't weaken you. It strengthens trust and allows others to feel safe around you. Admitting mistakes is how you show you truly care about others' feelings. Not everyone is perceptive enough to always be right in their words and actions. Sometimes a careless comment, a cold glance, or a moment of impatience can leave someone else deeply hurt. And what hurts most is not necessarily the mistake itself, but the fact that you didn't realize you caused pain. Or worse, that you knew but chose silence, thinking, "It's not a big deal," or "They'll get over it eventually." But emotional wounds don't heal the way surface cuts do. They don't simply fade with time. They require recognition, care, and sincerity. Often people don't need grand apologies or lengthy explanations. They just need one simple thing. An honest admission of fault, enough to make them feel seen and respected. Those who are willing to admit fault are those who place the feelings of others above their own pride. You might have your reasons. You were tired. You were stressed. You didn't mean to hurt anyone. But if your words or actions made someone feel small, disrespected, or invisible, you still have a responsibility to acknowledge that. Only when you recognize how your behavior impacts others emotionally can you truly become someone who is mature in relationships. In close relationships, whether family, love, or friendship, the ability to admit mistakes becomes even more important. Because closeness brings higher expectations, deeper emotional connections, and as a result, greater vulnerability to hurt. There are parents who, overwhelmed by life's stresses, lash out at their children. But instead of apologizing, they think, "Kids don't understand," or "I'm the parent, why should I say sorry?" That mindset unintentionally teaches children emotional silence. The child grows up guarded, afraid to speak their truth or express how they feel, because in their world, no one ever really listens. But imagine if one day that parent paused, knelt down, looked their child in the eye and said, "I'm sorry for yelling today. That wasn't your fault." The child's face would light up, not because the apology was perfect, but because for the first time, their emotions were acknowledged. Those who admit their faults don't lose dignity. They prove that sincerity is the highest form of respect. Many hesitate to apologize, thinking it makes them appear weak or puts them at a disadvantage. But the truth is, a heartfelt apology elevates your presence in the eyes of others, in character, in understanding, in emotional intelligence. People who can apologize are people who know how to love well, not with blind emotion, but with thoughtful, intentional care. This applies to the workplace too. Imagine a coworker who unintentionally dismissed your input during a meeting, leaving you feeling overlooked. If they come up to you later and say, "Hey, I spoke too quickly earlier and didn't listen to your idea properly. I'm sorry about that," it changes everything. No more lingering tension, no more silent frustration, just mutual respect. And that respect is what builds strong, lasting teams. When you admit fault, you're telling the other person, "Your feelings matter to me, and I don't want to be the reason you're hurting." You may not be able to undo what happened. You may not be able to erase the pain, but you can still be present by showing that you see their pain, that you're willing to take ownership of your part, and that you're here to make things right. It doesn't have to be a dramatic apology. You don't need grand gestures. Sometimes, just a sincere look and a gentle word, "I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you," is enough. Because deep down, we all crave one thing: to be seen and cared for in a real, honest way. And admitting our faults, that is how we step closer to someone else's heart. When you take responsibility, you choose to live as someone others can trust. In the end, everything we've explored, from admitting mistakes, honoring others' emotions, to choosing honesty over silence, leads to one essential foundation: trust. People may admire you for your talent, enjoy your company for your charm, or be drawn to you because of shared laughter. But they will only truly trust you, only feel safe placing their emotions in your care, if they know that you are someone who takes responsibility, someone who, even when wrong, doesn't walk away, someone who stays, faces the issue, and works to make things right. Trust isn't built from being flawless. It's built through the way you handle your imperfections. A sincere apology, a quiet act of fixing what was broken, a refusal to shift blame. These are the bricks that build the foundation of a person worth holding onto. People who take responsibility make those around them feel safe. In the workplace, they're the ones entrusted with important tasks. Because even if things go wrong, they don't run, they resolve. In the family, they're the ones their spouse and children can confide in, because disagreements don't turn into emotional wars, but into conversations. In society, they're admired and respected, not because they're perfect, but because they never turn their backs on what they've done. On the other hand, those who refuse to take responsibility always leave others feeling uneasy. With them, people walk on eggshells, afraid to speak openly or show vulnerability for fear of being dismissed or blamed. These individuals may be talented, charismatic, or even successful, but without integrity and accountability, their relationships are shallow and short-lived. What's most beautiful about people who take responsibility is that they do it not just for others, but also for themselves. They live with ease, not constantly protecting an image. They don't let pride distort their character. They understand that every time they own a mistake, they grow. And every time they fix what's broken, they become a better version of who they were yesterday. No one is born with the skill of taking responsibility. It is a journey shaped by courage, sincerity, and a desire to live with dignity. And you, if you've read this far, are likely on that journey too. The journey of becoming someone who can say, "I'm sorry" when needed. Someone who listens more than they speak. Someone who can put aside being right to elevate someone else's feelings just a little higher. Maybe you're still learning how. Maybe it still feels scary to admit you're wrong. That's okay. The very effort you're making already reflects a beautiful kind of maturity. So don't be afraid of being wrong. Just don't be afraid to make it right. Don't fear being misunderstood. Just be willing to open up the conversation. Don't protect a perfect image. Live truthfully. because that is the most beautiful version of yourself others will ever see. If this message touched something within you, please consider leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, and turning on the notification bell so we can keep walking this journey of growth and kindness together.